Hello and welcome to Historical Repo, your home for the most captivating stories from the past. Today, we're diving into one of America's oldest and most chilling mysteries. Imagine this: you're part of an expedition, returning to a fledgling colony you helped establish. But when you arrive, you find it completely deserted, with no signs of a struggle, no bodies, and no clues, except for a single, cryptic word carved into a tree. This isn't the plot of a horror movie, it's the true story of the lost colony of Roanoke. In 1587, 115 English men, women, and children vanished from their settlement on Roanoke Island, North Carolina, leaving behind a mystery that has baffled historians and archaeologists for over 400 years. So, what happened to them? Did they peacefully integrate with local communities? Were they the victims of a brutal attack, or did they simply succumb to the harsh realities of the New World? Join us as we explore the leading theories behind the colony that disappeared into thin air. Our story begins in the late 16th century, a time of intense rivalry between England and Spain. Queen Elizabeth I was eager to establish a permanent foothold in North America, both to challenge Spanish dominance and to exploit the rumored riches of the continent. Sir Walter Raleigh, a dashing courtier and explorer, was granted a royal charter to colonize the area. After a preliminary expedition in 1584 scouted the region and made contact with the local Algonquian-speaking tribes, the first real attempt at settlement began in 1585. This initial colony, composed entirely of men, was fraught with problems. They were soldiers and adventurers, ill-equipped for farming and building a self-sustaining community. Their reliance on the local tribes, like the CROATOAN and the CROATOAN, quickly soured as English demands for food strained resources and cultural misunderstandings led to violence. After a difficult year, this first group of colonists abandoned the settlement, returning to England with Sir Francis Drake. But Raleigh was not deterred. He was determined to succeed where others had failed, and this time, he planned for a different kind of colony. In 1587, a new group of settlers set sail from England, this time including women and children. This was intended to be a true, permanent English settlement in America, a new city named the City of Raleigh. Led by Governor John White, an artist and cartographer who had been part of the earlier expeditions, the 115 colonists landed on Roanoke Island in late July. Almost immediately, the situation grew tense. The local tribes, wary after their experience with the previous English garrison, were now openly hostile. A colonist was killed while searching for crabs, a grim reminder of their precarious position in this new and unforgiving land. Soon after their arrival, the colonists realized they were critically short on supplies. They persuaded Governor White to return to England to gather more provisions and reinforcements, promising to leave a sign if they had to move from their original location. White's departure was meant to be quick. He left behind his own daughter, Eleanor Dare, his son-in-law Ananias Dare, and his newborn granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. He promised to return as soon as possible, but fate had other plans. When White arrived back in England, he found the country in a state of high alert. King Philip II of Spain was preparing to launch his invincible armada to invade England, and every available ship was being commandeered for the war effort. White's pleas for a relief mission to Roanoke were lost in the chaos of war preparation. He was trapped, agonizingly aware that his family and the other colonists were alone, their supplies dwindling with each passing day. It would be 3 long years before he could finally secure passage back to the New World. In August of 1590, John White finally returned to Roanoke Island. As his ship approached the shore, he saw a plume of smoke rising from the woods, filling him with hope that the colony had survived. He and his men landed and made their way to the settlement site. But as they got closer, a dreadful silence greeted them. The familiar sounds of a bustling community, voices, hammering, the laughter of children, were gone. The entire settlement was deserted. The houses had been carefully dismantled, not violently torn down. There were no signs of a battle, no skeletons, no graves. It was as if the 115 colonists had simply packed up and vanished. As White and his men searched the empty fort, they found the only clues left behind. Carved into a wooden palisade post was a single word, in all capital letters, CROATOAN. White also noted the letters CRO carved into a nearby tree. This was the sign they had agreed upon. If the colonists had to move, they were to carve their destination into a tree. If they were in distress, they were to add a Maltese cross, but there was no cross. This suggested that the colonists had left willingly, and their destination was CROATOAN Island, modern-day Hatteras Island, the home of the friendly CROATOAN tribe led by Chief Manteo, who had traveled to England and was an ally to the English. White was desperate to sail south to CROATOAN Island to find his family. However, a powerful storm was brewing, and his ship's captain, fearing the dangerous shoals around the Outer Banks, refused to risk the journey. With a heavy heart, John White was forced to sail back to England, never to see his family or the colonists again. He died a few years later, the fate of his colony forever unknown to him. So what happened? This brings us to the first and most widely accepted theory: the colonists assimilated with local Native American tribes. The CROATOAN carving is the strongest piece of evidence for this. It seems the colonists, facing starvation and abandonment, chose to seek refuge with their only known allies, the CROATOAN people. Over time, they may have intermarried, adopted their hosts' language and customs, and gradually blended into the tribe. This theory is supported by later accounts. John Lawson, an English explorer traveling through North Carolina in 1709, wrote of meeting Hatteras Island natives who claimed to have ancestors with gray eyes who could speak out of a book, a possible reference to being able to read. Oral traditions from the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina also suggest a connection. Many Lumbee people share surnames with the Roanoke colonists, and their traditions speak of their ancestors coming from Roanoke in Virginia. Modern DNA testing has sought to prove a genetic link, but the results have been complex and inconclusive so far. But if they did assimilate, why did they disappear from the historical record? It's possible they were so fully integrated that subsequent English explorers simply didn't recognize them. Or perhaps, disease brought by later Europeans decimated the combined community before it could be documented. While assimilation seems plausible, a darker theory persists, that the colonists were attacked and killed. The Spanish are one potential culprit. They saw the English settlement as a threat to their own claims in the New World and had a history of destroying rival French colonies. The Spanish were certainly aware of Roanoke's location and considered it a base for English pirates preying on their treasure fleets. It's conceivable that a Spanish force sailed up from Florida and wiped out the colony, leaving no witnesses. However, there's little direct evidence to support this. No Spanish records mention such an attack, and it doesn't explain why the colonists would have dismantled their own houses or why they would carve CROATOAN if they were under duress from a Spanish raid. It also fails to explain the complete lack of bodies or signs of a battle. Another possibility is that they were attacked by a less friendly local tribe. While the CROATOAN were allies, relations with other mainland tribes, like the Secotans, were hostile. After Governor White left, the isolated and vulnerable colonists might have become an easy target. This could explain why they dismantled their settlement to salvage materials for a new, more defensible location. But again, it doesn't align with the lack of a distress signal, the Maltese cross, or the complete absence of archaeological evidence of a massacre at the site. Finally, we have the grim but logical theory of starvation and disease. The colonists were left with limited supplies on an island with sandy soil, which was not ideal for growing English crops like wheat. They were amateur farmers in an unfamiliar environment. A severe drought, which tree ring data has since confirmed occurred around that time, would have been devastating, leading to crop failure and a lack of fresh water. Faced with starvation, they may have broken up into smaller groups to search for food or seek help from different native communities. Separated and weakened, these small bands would have been vulnerable to disease, accidents, or small-scale attacks, eventually dying out one by one. This theory explains the disappearance without needing a single, dramatic event. The colony didn't vanish in a day. It may have slowly and tragically disintegrated over several months or years. The CROATOAN carving could have been their intended destination, a place they tried to reach but never made it to as a complete group. For centuries, the mystery of Roanoke was just that, a story with no physical proof beyond the empty settlement. But recently, modern archaeology has begun to shed new light on this old mystery. Archaeologists excavating on Hatteras Island, CROATOAN, and the mainland have found 16th century English pottery and other European artifacts mixed in with native settlements. This suggests that at least some of the colonists may have indeed lived among the Native Americans. These finds don't solve the mystery entirely, but they strongly support the assimilation theory. It's becoming increasingly likely that there was no single, dramatic disappearance. Instead, the story of Roanoke is likely one of survival, adaptation, and the merging of two cultures. The colonists of Roanoke didn't just vanish into thin air. They walked out of their fort and into the vast, unwritten history of the American continent, leaving us with a story that continues to fascinate and elude us. Perhaps the truth is that their story didn't end in 1590, it simply changed, and their descendants are still among us today. What do you think happened to the lost colony? Did they join the Croatoan people, or did they meet a more tragic end? Let us know your theories in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on Historical Repo. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as we did, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. We'll see you next time.